It's February 1st. The entire nation is watching. Business leaders are glued to their screens, investors are on edge, and citizens are waiting to see how this year's budget will shape their lives. But inside the Indian Parliament, something much bigger has already taken place. What the world sees on Budget Day is just the final reveal. A carefully scripted performance where the finance minister stands before the Lok Sabha and delivers numbers that will dictate the country's economic future. But behind those polished speeches and neatly printed documents is a world of secrecy, intense negotiations, and months of high-stakes planning. The process is so secretive that officials involved in drafting the budget are cut off from their families for days. Security is tighter than a high-level defense mission, and leaks are treated as a national crisis. And while the finance minister reads out numbers inside the Lok Sabha, a small group of elite economists and strategists sit in a hidden room nearby, tracking real-time market reactions, analysing opposition responses, and making instant predictions about how the country will respond. This is what really happens inside the Indian Parliament before Budget Day. Most people don't realise this, but the final days leading up to Budget Day are spent in what is essentially a financial lockdown. Deep inside the North Block of the Finance Ministry, a select group of officials, including economists, statisticians, legal experts, and top bureaucrats, are literally sealed inside the building for days. This is called the budget lock-in. Phones are confiscated, no emails, no internet access, no contact with family. Nothing goes in or out. The reason? To prevent any leaks that could impact the stock market, foreign investments, or even the political climate. A single leak about new tax rates, subsidies, or government spending plans could cause massive financial speculation. Inside these rooms, the finance minister and their core team review, adjust, and finalise the budget. Long tables are filled with stacks of documents, last-minute data analysis, and coffee cups from sleepless nights. Decisions worth trillions of rupees are made within these four walls. Any proposal that seems too risky or politically sensitive, scrapped in minutes. Even high-ranking officials in other ministries don't have full access to the budget document. Some ministers only get a broad overview of their department's allocations. The full details remain a mystery until Budget Day itself. Before the final budget document is printed, there's an unusual but highly symbolic tradition that takes place, the Halwa Ceremony. A massive cooking pot is brought into the finance ministry and a traditional Indian dessert, halwa, is prepared and served to all officials involved in drafting the budget. The ceremony is a morale booster, a moment of celebration before the intense isolation period begins. But here's the catch. After eating the halwa, the entire team working on the budget, including senior officials, accountants, and printing staff, are confined inside the ministry for days. No contact with the outside world, and no access to any form of communication. The only thing they focus on is ensuring the budget is printed securely and without leaks. This is where security is at its absolute peak. The printing of the budget document happens inside a high-security underground press in the basement of the Finance Ministry. The entire process is monitored by armed security personnel, and entry is restricted to only the most trusted officials. Every printed page is counted, secured, and accounted for. The last time an Indian budget leaked before it was officially announced was over 70 years ago. Since then, the government has treated the budget process like a national security operation. What most people don't realise is that even hours before Budget Day, numbers are still changing. The finance minister has to balance economics with politics. The budget must sound great for the public while actually working financially. So in the final 24 to 48 hours, some of the biggest last-minute changes happen. Tax rates are adjusted after final discussions with senior ministers. Allocations for key sectors like agriculture and defence may be slightly tweaked to align with the latest government priorities. The speech itself is refined. Every word is carefully chosen to project confidence, stability, and growth. In some cases, entire sections of the budget speech are rewritten at the last moment, especially if there are sudden changes in economic conditions, political strategies, or global financial trends. These last-minute changes are made by a team of highly trusted advisors, and even the Prime Minister may weigh in on final tweaks. On the morning of Budget Day, the whole team of ministers wake up before sunrise. Before leaving for Parliament, the Finance Minister performs a small Ganesh Puja at the Finance Ministry, following tradition. The final printed copies of the budget are packed into red briefcases, a practice that started with the British-style leather briefcase but was changed in 2019 to a traditional Bahi Kata, a red cloth folder symbolising India's heritage. As the minister makes their way to Parliament, officials inside the building prepare for a high-security lockdown. Entry to the Lok Sabha chamber is restricted to MPs, select journalists, and top bureaucrats. Once the Finance Minister begins the speech, there's no turning back. As the Finance Minister reads out the budget, a small team of economists and financial advisors sit in a separate control room inside Parliament. Their job? To monitor real-time reactions. They analyse how markets, industries, and even opposition leaders are responding to the announcements. If a particular policy gets an unexpectedly strong reaction, positive or negative, it's flagged for follow-up discussions after the speech. Meanwhile, in media rooms across Parliament, top news anchors and analysts are already preparing their verdict. Within seconds of an announcement, financial markets start reacting. By the time the Finance Minister finishes their speech, billions of dollars in stock market trades will have been made based on just a few words. The Finance Minister may have presented the budget, but their work is far from over. Now comes the political battle. Opposition leaders immediately start dissecting every policy, questioning spending priorities, and highlighting what they believe the budget got wrong. Meanwhile, industry leaders analyse how businesses and investors will be impacted. At the same time, top bureaucrats inside the Finance Ministry begin a week-long process of responding to questions, clarifying doubts, and preparing detailed reports to defend the budget in Parliament. Every announcement made on Budget Day is now under public scrutiny, and its success depends on how well it holds up in these debates. For most citizens, Budget Day is just a news event, but behind the scenes, it's a financial earthquake. Within 24 hours, stock market movements either add or wipe out billions of rupees in wealth. Government bonds adjust their yields based on fiscal policies. Industries make rapid shifts. Some benefit from increased funding, while others may cut jobs due to reduced subsidies. The impact of a single speech can shape India's economy for years. So the next time you hear the Finance Minister reading the budget, remember, this isn't just a speech. It's the result of months of secret planning, last-minute decisions, and some of the most intense financial calculations in the country. The final numbers may be debated, criticised, or celebrated, but one thing is certain: the events leading up to Budget Day are unlike anything most people imagine. If this video gave you a new perspective on what really happens inside Parliament before the budget is announced, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment below. What surprised you the most? See you in the next video.